Hello everyone. We have a game with the black pieces against Pino from Venezuela. Rated 7154. Maybe we'll get a Caro Kann. First, white has to move. There we go. So we play c6, and then we play d5, going into a Caro Kann structure. Half the time they go into the exchange, and we don't mind seeing it. They develop a knight, which doesn't threaten anything. We develop a knight. They put a pawn in the center. We also develop the other knight. The only difference is their knight blocks their c-pawn. Ours does not. So they developed a bishop. We've seen this time and time again. We simply develop as well, pinning the knight, so he can't jump in with further pressure. So he castles, and we can play e6, connecting our pawns, opening the bishop. He develops his bishop, pinning our knight. We can easily develop our bishop and unpin the knight. Also blocks any x-rays on the king from a rook. So white's just developing, we're just developing. He voluntarily takes our knight, giving up the bishop pair, which I don't understand why. Well, now I do. He goes knight a4, he wants to go knight c5, establish a piece on a nice outpost, so that makes sense. I mean, there's many moves you can make. You can castle, you can play maybe h6, maybe you could just play c5 anyway, maybe you could jump your knight in, maybe you can go queen a5. I don't feel like looking each one and which one's calculating, so let's just pick castle. Simple. He can put a knight here if he wants. The problem is if we take it, he does get a pawn mass on the queen side, but he does let us push e5 since the pawn no longer protects that square. Interesting. Knight in here, also interesting. Unlocking the bishops, the queen. Yeah, so we can improve a knight for free with knight e5. We can take and play e5, threatening e4. That looks good too. Even rook b8 looks good, but I want to do one of these moves. I'm just not sure which one. I guess I'll go with this one because if we go in here, we lose our queen. So let's play e5 like intended. c4, any random move, we just go e4. Although I guess e4, h6. So he unpins the knight. We can still go e4, but it has a nice central square to go to, so we don't want to do that. We do want to take it and ruin his pawn structure. And now that his bishop is here, we want to throw in the free move, giving space to our king, because a bishop trade is bad for him. Okay. So now he has the pin. I say we just break it with g5. That way we have freedom to move the knight. He double attacks our pawn, but with this freedom, we're going to go backwards, protect the pawn, attack a pawn. He takes with the bishop because you can't take with the queen. The downside is it potentially walks into a pin. Does the pin work? Let's find out. So we attack the bishop twice. It cannot be defended because you take the pawn. If you move the queen, you lose the if you move the bishop, you lose the queen. If you counterattack my queen, I could just take the bishop. So I think this wins a piece. And if that's the case, the game is over. So it does win a piece. We can recapture either way. Knight has some fun checks. Rook. Let's take with the knight. Get it closer to his king. comes with a threat. It also has discoveries, so we can move it almost anywhere. So he moves the queen, defends the pawn, attacks the knight, aims at the king. Lots of things. He does walk into this. He can't go here, here, or here. So he can lose this pawn next, and I also have queen d5, which is nice. So if I push, he'll go to one of these, probably a3. So here, queen a3, queen up, hits this pawn and this pawn. So let's do that. Because my queen can't go to h4 automatically. You could have, let's say, gone queen f6, queen f4. Okay, he goes here, which looks like where you want it, but it hangs a queen. Okay, so let's go through the game. We play the Caro Kann, and 50% of the time they're going to take and go into the exchange. They're also going to bring their knights out very often at lower ranks instead of moving the c pawn. So we develop and center, develop and center, develop and center, center and development, development and center by unpinning the knight, force move, good for us. We have the bishop pair. Castling is just king safety and development. So yeah, I figure 95 our bishop takes probably best. So we go for this line, although they both look good, for free stuff. Why is it free? It's a positional e5, threatening e4. We have the two pawns in the center. We created space for ourselves. There can't be anything wrong with our position. It's completely playable. And then he immediately blunders. The computer wants him to play kick the bishop so that we're kind of forced to take. He'll take. Maybe we'll, I don't know, move a rook over, kick the bishop, kick the queen, something like that. No big deal. But we instead force move because it's positional win for us. And then a free improving move. Another free improving move, breaking the pin. And then I figured this looks like a nice consolidating move. Opens up the square for our queen, or maybe even further pawn storm. Because he doesn't really have many pieces that can attack anything. There's just a couple stuff left. Computer wants him to play c4. What's our best move after that? We push past. Yeah, good enough. But he takes the pawn thinking that I blundered it, but then it goes immediately to minus 4.5 because he loses the piece. You can't really get your queen pinned in any scenario. It just doesn't end well. Free stuff. Free improving move, opening the square for our queen. Computer says queen a3, which is what I thought he was going to play, but then he blunders into minus 10. If he did go to the side, I was going to put my queen in the center, creating this threat which he cannot defend. And then my center is overwhelming. No matter what he does, I mean, I'm up a piece. I could take this next with the queen and create mating threats, or I could take with the knight. But I'd probably take with the queen to try to force the issue. But either way, hopefully this helps. Hopefully, what do we got? All zeros, 97%. Yeah, hopefully this just shows you very simple train of thought. Develop your stuff, trade when it's kind of forced, and your opponent will eventually just blunder something ridiculous. So good luck. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.